So he went by the name of Nick. I mean, that was like his nickname, Nick. And he was born on December 28th, 1954 in Clarksdale, Mississippi, to his parents Tommy and Sue Abraham. He had a lot of brothers and sisters, so a very large family. And after he graduated from high school in 1972, he attended St. Ben's Seminary in Covington, Louisiana. He also went to the University of Southern Mississippi and Indiana University, and he received a Master's of Divinity in Theology at the Sacred Heart School of Theology. So this was a man who was very educated. He worked as a Catholic priest for 11 years, and then he went on to obtain a PhD in counseling from Marquette University, a business administration and management degree from Concordia International University, and a certification in counseling from Louisiana State University. And I spoke too soon when I said he had a lot of education. He had even more education after that. So, after Nick left his position as a priest, he worked as a licensed professional counselor, a motivational speaker, a recording artist, an author, and a teacher. He was a busy man. For over 30 years, he treated substance abuse, depression, and anxiety. He provided counseling, psychotherapy, guidance, and psychoeducation to couples, individuals, and families in the Baton Rouge area of Louisiana. He was openly gay, and he helped the LGBTQ plus population to work through identity issues, acceptance, and family struggles. He was also popular on local cable television. He also sang with a band called the Nick Abraham Experience. Okay, so he was kind of a local celebrity. I don't know if celebrity is the right word, but he was, well respected in the community. He was pretty well known. I mean, he was on cable TV and involved in so many things. But 9 years ago, in 2015, an 11-year-old male accused Dr. Abraham of inappropriately touching him during a therapy session. And Dr. Abraham was arrested and booked into the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. But he was released after posting a $25,000 bond. And ultimately, the case was never brought to trial. According to the DA, Hiller Moore, speaking on it recently, quote, "While there was probable cause for an arrest, my office had to determine if the evidence supported our burden at trial, which is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. This matter was under review by my office for approximately 2 years. After considering all available evidence, the best interest of the child, and the lack of any inculpatory statements by the arrestee, we declined to institute formal charges," end quote. Now, after all of that, it seems he never lost his license or stopped practicing, and he continued to be a respectable member of the community, so I don't know what you want to take from that. But anyway, on September 28th of this year, 2024, at 11 a.m., 69-year-old Dr. Abraham visited the Baton Rouge apartment of 20-year-old Terrion Thomas. Now, Terrion Thomas is the TikToker who goes by the name Mr. Prada. Okay, so let's stop 6. You could also find him on all the other social media platforms as well. Now, he became notorious on TikTok for copying other creators' videos shot for shot. Now, it seems like he wasn't really trying to fool anyone, or I don't know his motivations, but it seems like that was supposed to be, like, funny that he was doing that, on purpose, following shot by shot what other creators were putting out there. Some creators who had their content recreated by Mr. Prada called him out on it, but his unapologetic attitude towards their complaints turned him into a meme of sorts because of it. Some TikTok users claim to be, quote, Mr. Prada victims, and would make videos feigning distress when Thomas would like their videos. Meaning, if they saw that he had liked their video, they knew it was going to be copied. It was just a big joke, kind of fun, I guess. If you know, by the way, if you were a follower or regular viewer and you have more information on his style or his content, or I got something wrong, let me know, okay? So anyway, he made a video which is now deleted, saying that he was, quote, unbothered by the criticisms that he was copying other people's content. Anyway, over the past year, his followers have become concerned over his well-being. In some of his videos, he had spoken openly about depression and relationship problems, and then he disappeared from the platform entirely. Like, he went from being constantly uploading on TikTok to completely disappearing. And that was around October of 2023, and people were trying to speculate what happened to him. They were posting TikToks on where'd he go, what happened to him. Trying to look through his old content, trying to find clues. Well, he reappeared in April of 2024, but he was not the same at all. Right away, he posted a video of himself cutting off his dreadlocks with a scissor, and then he went on to shave his entire head in a very, like, patchy way. Like he missed a bunch of patches, which just looked really, really odd, like, really crazy, you know what I mean, unhinged. And to make matters worse, he shaved his eyebrows off, and any facial hair that he had, like any light beard and mustache. And he did this all for you to see online. It was truly, truly bizarre. And after his hiatus, he spoke of loneliness. He spoke about breaking up from a relationship, and he told everyone that he is bipolar and that he had had a mental breakdown while he was away. So that kind of cleared it up, to a certain extent. And at one point he announced that he does not want to be called Mr. Prada anymore, but rather Terrion, which is his name. Viewers were starting to say that maybe this was like his Britney moment, like Britney Spears. And he was truly appearing very bizarre in some of his videos, just talking in a said, he started out like this, quote, "Today I'm doing an emo mukbang because one of my goals is I want to gain weight and I can't really gain weight, but the only thing that makes me gain weight for some reason is..." Then he pauses and he starts again, but he didn't edit it out, so then he starts again. "Okay, so today I'm doing an emo mukbang. One of my main goals for this video is that I just need to eat. The only thing that makes me gain weight, surprisingly, is McDonald's. But I don't know, like it makes me gain a certain type of way, but it also makes me stay skinny. But if I eat like other food, then I'm gonna just throw up." So he said, what's he talking about here? He's saying that he's eating this food so that he can gain weight, which is something that he wants to do because he's very thin. Or so he says. But then he says it makes him gain a certain type of way, but it also makes him stay skinny. What does that mean? I don't know. Then later on he says, "Sometimes I be talking to myself and then I zone out. My therapist says that's not healthy." Later he says, "I miss my hair. I miss not having no hair." So I stopped to think, what does it mean to say not having no hair? sharp objects and other weapons, end quote. According to the Louisiana State Crime Lab, the blood found at the apartment matched the DNA of Dr. Abraham. And they looked at surveillance footage from the apartment complex, and they saw Dr. Abraham entering the apartment around 11 a.m. on the 28th of September and not coming out. Witnesses said they saw Terrion Thomas dragging, quote, an object wrapped in a blue-colored tarp, end quote, into Dr. Abraham's car on the 28th. And surveillance footage showed that Dr. Abraham was wearing the same clothes when he showed up there as what he was later found dead in. Now, the U.S. Marshals North Texas Fugitive Task Force caught up with Terrion Thomas on October 1st in Dallas County, Texas, and he was arrested immediately, and initially he was charged with second-degree murder and obstruction of justice, and they kept him in custody in Dallas, awaiting extradition to Louisiana. On Monday, October 7th, he was extradited back to East Baton Rouge Parish Prison, and they changed the charges at that point. The charge was then upgraded to first-degree murder under a Louisiana law that allows the more serious charge when, quote, the offender has the specific intent to kill or inflict great bodily harm upon a victim who is under the age of 12 or 65 years of age or older, end quote. And Dr. Abraham was 69. So this new charge makes him eligible for the death penalty if he is convicted. But it's not certain that the prosecution is going to seek the death penalty. It just is possible. So he had a court date on October 8th. Commissioner Jermaine Guillory presided over the initial court appearance. Terrion Thomas was not brought to court for the proceeding, but he joined via a camera link from the jail. So Guillory denied bail and appointed the public defender's office to represent Thomas for now. He asked Thomas if he would be hiring an attorney to represent himself, to which Terrion Thomas stated, "I don't know yet." Now, upon hearing all the details of the case, social media quickly spread rumors on what could have happened here. So they put two and two together, and they decided that Mr. Prada must have been the boy who had accused Dr. Abraham of SA back in 2015, because he was 11, and the boy in that case, who was never named, was 11. So they were all saying, hey, that makes sense. He must have allegedly killed Dr. Abraham because of what Dr. Abraham had done to him. People were running wild with this theory. It is all over the place. And people were expressing so much sympathy and empathy for Mr. Prada, and so much hate towards Dr. Abraham. Nobody was talking about poor Dr. Abraham, who lost his life in this violent way at the hands of, allegedly, Mr. Prada. some of mine. First of all, rest in peace to Dr. Abraham. He lost his life in such a horrific and violent manner. We don't know yet what the connection was between him and Mr. Prada, but I believe that Terrion was not the 11-year-old involved in the 2015 case. I don't know what the story was, like none of us do, but I believe that it was not Terrion. Regarding the charges against Dr. Abraham, and whether or not I think that actually happened, I'm not going to say that a child made it up, because that is a very damaging thing to say in general. And I am not going to try to play judge and jury in a case that was dropped, especially when Dr. Abraham is no longer around to give his side of the story. So I am totally just going to leave that alone. And of course, my heart goes out to Dr. Abraham's family and friends for this awful, awful, tragic loss. Now, what do I think happened here? Like, what do I think was the connection or the motive or any of that? Of course, I'm just guessing, 100% speculating, so don't hold me to it at all. I could be completely wrong, but if you said to me, you have to guess, you have to give what you think, then I would say this. Now, we already know that Dr. Abraham was openly gay. Somebody probably knows, but I don't know what the sexuality of Terrion was. I did see one article said he was queer. They didn't go into it, but the title was, saying like queer TikToker, whatever that means exactly. So like I said, I don't know what his preference was, but let's say that he was gay or bisexual or something, okay? So maybe posts that joked about that sort of thing, but I think they were just coincidental. Like, there was one where he said, practicing for my mugshot when someone pisses me off to the extent that I kill them, or something. In other words, I'll put it right here. But in truth, it didn't look like he was about to kill anyone. I mean, let's be real. So let's not try to blame his followers. What were they supposed to do anyway? You know, were they supposed to call the police and say, this guy, you should look into this guy for what? What had he done that was worth the police going to look at him based off of his videos? The truth is, do we really know anyone on TikTok? You know, you think you know someone, you watch them every day. You don't know them. You really don't, especially on TikTok, because those are really short. Half the time the person isn't even talking. They just have writing and they have sounds in the background, and it's a joke. They're joking around. You don't know them. You don't know what they're going through. So we all really need to stop assuming that we know social media celebrities. Do I feel empathy for Mr. Prada? Of course I do. I feel awful that he allegedly did such a thing as this and ruined his life, truthfully. But I have to say that I feel even worse for Dr. Abraham, who lost his life at the hands of Mr. Prada, allegedly. So I am gonna leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found it to be thought-provoking. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and I hope you have